Hey everyone, this is Tony, Dungeon Master for D&D Raw. Don't forget to join us at the end of the episode for our Creators Corner as we highlight our very own Rachael Swertfeger and how you can support her on Patreon. Also, you can support D&D Raw on Patreon for access to behind-the-scenes content while earning our undying gratitude, including special shoutouts, bonus content, and even the chance to join us in the game. We would be thrilled if you can support us on Patreon. So check us out at patreon.com/DNDRaw. And now, on to the show. With me today are the following players.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm playing Luven Cromdell, the half-elf alchemist artificer.
Hey, I'm Jane. I will be playing Nissa, the gnome arcane trickster rogue.
Hi, I'm Chris, and I will be playing Orik Fireforge, the dwarven forge cleric.
Hey, I'm Rachael, and I will be playing Elean Fox, the human druid barbarian.
Last time, you guys left off where you were talking to Dorora Il-Fakir, who interviewed you a little bit and offered you 10 gold apiece to travel to Ascenthios and find out what's this magical item that they apparently have that would be of great importance to the Nephany. You were each asked about your different skill sets. Elaine saying that she would need to talk to Orik's mule, Anvil, before they headed out on the journey. You were told it should take about 2 10-day to reach Ascenthios from the town you were in, Amonkar. So, very first thing I would like to ask before we begin is who is making a trail? Because essentially, like, you have a road for a ways before you get deep into the Rigorum Woods, and then things start getting rough. Who would be at the head of this trying to make sure that there is a rough trail for Anvil to follow?
Probably Elean. She is the most in tune with nature of the group. Nissa is probably really good in urban settings.
Yeah.
If I can, I would just smash trees out of the way.
No, don't smash trees.
At one point, I'd pull out a fire.
So I'm going to say, since Orik is
You guys are monsters.
smashing some trees, Elaine, make me 2 survival checks with advantage. Yep.
Ooh, first roll.
Roll good.
So the first one is
and
going
then
to be
on
a
top
21.
of that, I am assuming,
one is going
Orik,
to be
that
a
you
16.
are, encouraging Anvil along, correct? Is anyone assisting with this? Like, are you continuing to talk
As
to
much
Anvil,
as a
Elaine,
mule
or...?
can be encouraged.
I mean, I would when there's, like, chances for it. Obviously, I'd go and be like, you're doing great, buddy. Like, I know he's a pain, and, he's a little bit of a slave driver, but
Of course,
you got
yeah,
this.
no.
Like, But I'm talking in donkey or mule, like, so he can't understand.
From the perspective of the others, I'm sure that's very interesting to watch.
Yeah, you just
Orik, can you make 2 animal handling checks
gonna be
for
great.
me with advantage?
Sure. First one is
so,
11.
I will say, for the first
Second
half of your
one
journey,
is 21.
Elaine is is really just blazing a trail for you. She's having no problems finding, softer footing and fewer branches and roots and all that get in your way, and is able to navigate the Rigorum Woods very quickly. Anvil gives you a lot of trouble. There's a few times where he kind of just stops and starts to graze, and you're trying to pull him along, and he's just... No, and after a little bit of encouragement from Elaine, he moves on, but that first half of your journey, dealing with Anvil was rough. The second half of the journey winds up being, while the woods are a lot thicker and you're having a lot harder trouble finding a trail, so Orik having to take down some trees, or at least break some thick roots that are in your way, you have a lot more trouble getting through. But Anvil is very agreeable. He's just happy and is moving along, and you seem to be on much better terms based off of what Anvil is telling you, Elean, that is like, no, Orik's, he's okay. So, for a brief bit, I'm going to ask everybody, on this 19-day journey, what is your normal morning routine? Like, you wake up, you're in the middle of these thick, thick woods. What would you normally do?
So in the morning, Elean probably gets up and does like some like mild stretching, almost like yoga. And then she'll do, each morning she'll go on and do almost like a walk around where we've kind of set camp for the morning, just to check out, like, did anything kind of encroach on us? Do like a scout to see if anything tried to approach us during the night, if there's any weird like footprints or anything like that. But yeah, just kind of general like morning scouting stuff, and then would have her like breakfast.
So
if everything
most of the
seems
mornings
to check
you're
out okay.
doing
So,
fine. You'll notice smaller creatures kind of cautiously approach you guys. Like, little tiny tracks of squirrels and rabbits and stuff like that during the night. Nothing that would alarm you too much. What is Luven's normal morning routine?
In the morning, Luven will get up, and sometimes Ari would see him pull out some parchment, a pen, and begin writing some kind of letter. And at the end, when he'd finished, unless he hated it and like crumpled it up, he would seal it and he'd stuff that back into his Dungeoneer's pack. Other times, he'd pull out just a small canvas. He'd have several miniature ones so as to be able to do many things without taking up too much room. And just paint some scenery, not in super high detail, but
Okay.
a quick sketch
Nissa,
before getting up
what
and
would be
getting
your
ready for
normal morning
breakfast
routine?
and that kind of thing.
First thing Nissa does is probably check all her belongings, because she goes to sleep with them in her arms. So she will check them first off, make sure she has everything. As she's now getting used to her party, probably looking around at everyone else, seeing who else is up. She's much more of a night owl than a morning person, so she probably takes a little bit of time to come round. Fix coffee, if there is such a thing as coffee in this world. I really hope there is. Yes! And she might do just some things like pull out a journal and just make some notes in a journal, keep that up to date, and she may also write the odd letter in the morning, just quiet things to herself while she's kind of coming round.
I would say he would don his priest stole and probably do like some morning prayers to Yedeman. And then after that, helping with breakfast or whatever needs to be done
All
around
right, so
the
now that we have
campsite
that down,
before
what's
heading
everyone's
off
normal evening
to continue
routine?
the day.
What do you normally do as you get ready to go to bed?
So at the end of the day, Elean probably first setting up camp. She'd probably help set up like the area and the perimeter. Just be like, okay, this will be good. Help with Anvil as much as possible to keep him calm and happy. And then if there's any dinner that we're going to be cooking or anything that we're going to be doing like that, or if she needs to go scout for some berries or something, she'd easily be like, all right, I'll go find some berries. Bye. And then, as it gets closer to like bedtime, just kind of
It's
roll
considered
out
a
her
large vehicle,
bedroll
so
and
all four of
flop
you could
down on
fit
it.
in it.
In terms of the size of the cart,
It would be a big open space. This is the
are there
cheapest
like
thing you
multiple
guys could buy.
areas of it, or is it one big open space inside?
I imagine it's almost like, not the small size, but maybe like the next size up U-Haul, like the medium size U-Haul, like just a big space.
Right, and I'm sure that Orik and Luven share a work table of some kind as well. Luven's section would be a lot messier, different projects strewn about, and that's where he'd spend a lot of his time working on projects related to some alchemy or even a bit of machinery here or there. Researching, just looking at books about magic, that kind of thing. Not keeping still, basically.
Nissa would lend a hand with anything needed, like setting up the camp and that kind of thing. She'd probably stick fairly kind of close-ish to Elean because she's still not really that comfortable with countryside. So yeah, she'd help with things like that, and then she may, like, pull out playing cards, see if anybody wanted, play cards, or she'd pull out Tinker's tools, and maybe mess around. Even if she can't make anything from scratch, she might, like, pull apart
Orik?
something she's already made, and then try and remake it up again, see if she can make it better, that kind of thing.
Depends entirely on whether or not he has some raw material to work on. If he has anything of metal, he would be trying to do little projects and stuff with that. If there isn't any metal available, he might take to either whittling something out of wood. Basically, he'd be trying to create
You probably would have like a few scraps of metal here and there, based off of like, what you would have already had in the cart before you started along. But beyond that, there's a lot of wood around, but not much else.
Yeah. So he'd probably try and whittle something that.
So, like, on the
maybe
journey,
looks
what is
useful
something that your
he
character
could
would have
potentially sell
talked
in
to
his
someone
shop?
else, or in Elaine's case, possibly something else about?
Okay, so I think at one point, one of the days, maybe in the afternoon or evening, as we're kind of settling down, maybe kind of stroll over to Orik, especially after she notices him doing the whittling, and be like, "So, you craft stuff? I've gathered.
Aye.
What do you do with the stuff you craft?"
Well, I try and sell it. It's what any dwarf who's industrious does.
Okay, but do you just... And she's gonna point, I'll point to the cart, sell it from the back of the cart, or do you, like, ship it somewhere for further... Like, do you have a storefront set up in a town?
Well, the cart is the storefront. We travel around and we sell wherever we go.
So at the mention of the cart being the storefront, Elean's gonna give a very exaggerated, kind of put her hands on her hips and do the, like, look around. There are lots of customers out here for you.
You mean the squirrels? I don't think they'd be having much coin, lass.
Exactly. Have you ever considered having a stationary storefront somewhere?
Well, that wouldn't work very good for my traveling. Couldn't really mind it while I'm out on the road.
No, but if you had somebody you could trust, you could send it there, and then perhaps somehow arrange to get the money back and forth.
I suppose. It could be doable, but I haven't really met the right people to do that yet.
I mean, I know some people in the businesses. Maybe when we get back to a town that I know some people, we could arrange something. I could, help you meet people.
I'd be interested in hearing more about this proposition. What are your qualifications?
Well, I used to work a bunch of merchant ships, so I know logistics, so to speak. I know how to get things from point A to point B, specifically on a waterfront. But I also know about, cargo and things like that.
I'm not very familiar with traveling across the sea.
Oh, it's so great to be out on a boat. Gosh, the ocean is amazing.
I'll take your word for it.
It's just, there's something about the salty, fresh air first thing in the morning. Though, I'm not a big fan of the bird poop.
I'm not sure you're selling it to me.
Well, I'm not saying for you to become a sailor. I'm just saying that I know people who could help transport your goods.
Well, when we get back, I'd definitely be interested in hearing more about this proposition.
I'm thinking it might be easier on Anvil if you weren't constantly hauling around an entire store.
Could get a second anvil. Name him Hammer.
All right, Nissa, who would you have spoken to?
Well, we could do that, maybe. But it's just as a thought.
I would also talk to Orik. Possibly just as we're travelling, but it'd just be, hey Orik, so, is that real gold on your armour?
Gosh.
I forged it myself. I like to make the little inlays. I feel that it adds an extra accent that, in my opinion, and I think it pleases Yadaman to have that fine a crafting. Because normal dwarves, or normal craftsmen, they will just go and put the plate out there. But it's the attention to detail That's what really sells it.
I will be looking very impressed. Eyes also lighting right up. You make it yourself?
Aye. Whenever I have the free time and ample materials.
That is very impressive. I'd like to see you do that sometime.
Sure, just
Luven?
provide me some raw materials and I can make almost anything you want.
I'll see what I can do.
Luven perhaps
Okay.
would take Nissa up on an offer for that playing card game one evening. There'd probably be a couple chairs to sit down within the cart. Some stools at the very least. Luven's just going to clear away some space on his side of the table. And now there is a place for playing cards. And as the playing goes on, just asking you questions and perhaps a bit rapid fire. So you've been kind of quiet. Where do you come from? I hear that you also have some navigation skills. What kind of stuff do you do? And on and on and on. Occasionally, I might accidentally kind of do 2 questions in one, but overall, I stop and listen intently.
At the looking intently, Nissa's probably going to lean back slightly. Like, whoa, fella. She'll say, I'm from Orenthal. Navigation skills? That's probably more Elean's thing, to be honest, but I can get around sneakily, if that's what you're referring to.
Okay, well, that'll help us with the orcs when that comes up.
Wait, there's orcs out here?
Yeah, some hungry wild animals, too. Would be really cool to paint if we could subdue one.
You want to subdue a wild animal?
I mean, just,
A beast?
if it comes up.
Really? Okay. Well, good luck with that, buddy.
Thanks!
How about you? Where are you from?
From Solana, a small farming town, Madaker. It's close to Aliabel, the kind of main research hub of the area. I would go there a lot during my downtime. It was fun.
I've not much been out of Orenthal, so I don't really know much of the world. I don't really know what it's like there.
That's why I've started traveling too. I've only been traveling with Orik for a few months. We've been all around Solana now, but before that, I'd barely been out of my town at all, other than going to Aliabel when I could. So this is all just so new and exciting.
Are
Not
either of
that
you proficient
exciting,
in playing
but
cards?
Yeah, it's new.
How are we doing on the card game, by the way, Tony?
Uh,
All right,
Don't
Nissa,
think so.
roll a sleight of hand.
I'd also throw in
Luven,
Nissa's
just
probably
roll
cheating.
a straight d20. He somehow still won that
15.
first game.
18?
Yep. Yep.
And is completely oblivious, I imagine, to your sleight of hand.
as long as you're oblivious, that's cool.
All
Oh
right.
yeah, wouldn't think of this kind of trickery even existed. It's-
Orik?
Sit down, let me tell you a story. I'm just kidding.
Luven, give me a hand over here. I need to line up this wood with this silver that I've got. I will transmute it into some iron. I've had a revelation. This will surely please Yadamin with what I'm about to create.
Sure thing, boss.
We'll stack the wood right over there in that orientation, kind of like a nice square, like...
Like this?
Aye, perfect. So, I had a revelation. We've been out traveling. We've been having to eat on our laps. We've had chairs to sit on, but we haven't anywhere to sit right proper. I had a brilliant idea. Because normally, you have a table. It has the legs, it has the top, and it's always there. It's always stationary. Never moves. What if it could collapse in on itself?
Well, that would kind of defeat the purpose, right? Or are you saying control the collapsing?
You can control the collapsing, my boy. You control it with hinges. So, alright, we have this all lined up. Let me begin the ritual. And about an hour later... Yes. We have it now. The table, it has the hinges for the legs. They will fold in upon each other. And the top, it will fold in to collapse and hold it in like a clamshell. This way we can take it with us wherever we go.
Immediately,
go and
I
you
start
grab it.
testing it out. And does it work?
Slight squeak to it,
Tony, does it work?
but it folds up.
This is so cool. I better
You can
start
add
cleaning up at
collapsible
night
table.
now, though.
Do I get to add collapsible table to my inventory? Sweet.
But is it in your inventory
Cart's
or is it
getting
in
full
the cart's
slowly.
inventory?
It's in
Good
my
for
other
now.
holdings.
You got
the
room.
cart's
I actually had to
inventory.
write down in my
But,
notes, like, how much can a cart
Yeah.
carry with a mule? And okay, we're good. So, as you travel,
Well, we already have the
on
name of the
19th
second
day,
mule picked
it's getting
out if it
later
comes
in
up,
the afternoon, going into evening slowly, the sun beginning to set. You're traveling through this colossal verdant forest. The canopy is filled with dogwood, beech, and elm, cascading lights bouncing between the leaves, showing a motley of shrubs down below. Curling, climbing plants cling to most of the trees, and you see an array of flowers that add a lot more color and life to what would normally be just a homogeneous landscape. Around you, you hear all sorts of little voices off in the distance, mostly critters. You hear some birds that fill the air with their sound and their music, and the occasional sound of like a breaking twig underneath a larger animal or anvil. On this day, as you're traveling the woods, you know you must be getting close, and the journey's been long, with no other signs of life. Might be starting to get to some of you, Luven. But overall, it's been a fairly simple journey. Occasionally, Elean has noticed tracks of larger animals nearby and had you skirt around to avoid them in order to keep you on the trail. As you're traveling along this day, though, you do suddenly hear a little ways off to your right and ahead of you down one of the paths. Elean, you're the first one to notice this. It sounds like something's moving and moving very quickly, roughly in your general direction.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm assuming I'm kind of at the front of the line, so I'd like hold up my hand and like give everybody like the signal to like quiet and stop, just to see if we can distinguish what exactly, or like, you know, if it is actually coming
Yes.
towards us
Go ahead.
or anything like that. Can I do a perception to see if I see anything or can distinguish
Based
any
off your
further?
roll, you kind of glance off to your right.
20.
And you hear it getting louder and louder. It's definitely, now you hear the sounds of footsteps running very quickly. And as you're kind of looking through the hedges and past the trees, you see what looks to be a figure, humanoid in form, and just running not directly at you, but it looks like it's curving slightly off towards your right. And as it starts to turn and run, you do see an elven figure just full on sprint, glancing back over her shoulder. And in that moment, you hear several other larger sounding footsteps. And for a brief instant, you notice through the trees about 4 or 5 larger figures, each wielding some sort of weapon that seem to be chasing directly after this woman as she turns and starts rushing off, slightly angled towards your right.
Okay. Guys, there's an elven woman being chased.
So
We
you
need
see
to
this
help her.
woman running full
And then
speed. You're
take
just
off
losing
running
sight of her
after
as
as
she's
well.
going down this separate path. And you see these 5 orcish figures, as Elean has now pointed them out to you guys, starting to run full speed towards this woman, all weapons drawn. You just hear like, what are you guys doing? Giant wolf spider, I assume.
Immediately transforming into a spider and booking it towards him. Oh, yeah.
You are now
That's
a giant wolf
dinky little
spider.
spider.
And in this case, as you are
Well,
going to
tackle into
engage,
the
I
ground
would
as
like
a
everyone to
spider.
roll initiative. Hold on.
Time to rumble.
Yes.
I rolled well.
Yay!
Hey, Tony. It hasn't really come up, but as part of, like, Orik's morning ritual, he would do his blessing of the forge upon his armor.
But you didn't
in order
mention
to
that.
Make it magical.
I'm
which
kidding.
gives him
If not for the fact that it
+1
says at the end of a long
AC.
rest. All right, so you're doing your armor? Okay. All right. So,
Yes.
giant wolf spider, you quickly shift in
Yeah, it would be
and
his armor.
start to
You
rush
cast
towards
it on.
them. Roughly, yeah.
So, I want to do something crazy. So they're like 20 feet away from us at the moment. And then there's trees to the left and right that are about 10 feet. Could I, because I have a movement speed of 40 and a climb speed of 40, could I run over to the trees to my left, which are about 20 feet away, climb up the tree a little bit, and then launch myself at the dude that's in front to try to basically like flying tackle him as a spider?
That will be your entire
Basically, I want to
turn.
run up the tree and then
You're good
launch
with that?
myself
Okay.
just to like
I need
flying
you to make
tackle
a
on top of him.
strength check then as
I'm
the
okay with
giant
that.
wolf spider.
Alrighty.
No, I was looking up the
12.
strength of the orc.
Do you need a spider battle cry? Is that what you need?
Oh, he's stronger than you, but it doesn't help when he rolls an 8.
It's stronger than mine, I'm sure of it.
So you rush up, spindly legs like running up the tree and then leaping off as you kind of get just high enough to get some leverage and push and slam down on top of him. And he is currently prone. So you are currently right on top of him and just...
Pah.
Nice.
Yep. And I'm making like chittering
Nice,
noises,
big,
like
creepy spider.
like little clicky spider creepy noises.
Yeah, as you do, you slam down into him.
Tackle
Now that you have a
the dude to
closer
the
look,
ground.
you notice
Like a
4 of the
Definitely creepy.
orcs seem to have just patchwork hide armor, like whatever they could grab. All of them have a great axe in their hand and a couple of javelins on their backs. You do notice one orc actually has chainmail armor and a shield in hand, as well as a longsword and the couple of javelins on his back. You can't see it yet.
The draft.
Now, what would you say
You see
is the
orcs.
quality of this armor? Is it
So,
all
you
kind of-
currently are on
Ah,
top of
fair
one
enough,
of the
fair
orcs
enough.
as it just stares up at you and is like, "Grr, which you might assume means spider. All right. That brings us to his friend, who was going to turn and run, but now sees giant spider attacking and is going to take a swing at you with his great axe. Not from that one. Yeah, that'll hit as he takes a swing
no
and deals
arachnophobia check?
5 points of damage. Yeah, and he slashes into your side, and you recoil a little bit, but you're still standing on top of his friend. But that is his turn. Luven. Yeah, you saw the elf go down.
All right, so
the,
I just
that
saw
path
the
that's kind of
fleeing
curving
elf
around
go
the
down
tree.
this other
Right.
path. Okay, as a bonus action, I pull out a little piece of parchment that seems to have some really nice
I'm going to say
handwritten text
only
on it,
Elaine
and
can
with
see
a
that
quick
the woman
verbal
running suddenly has a
thing
slight
and
shimmer
flick of the
around
wrist. Okay, and then I am going to move
Okay.
up a bit. I'm actually just going to move up like 5 feet toward the group of orcs. And then I pull out a vial that has some kind of reddish liquid in it, and it radiates a small bit of warmth in my hand.
Okay, so
and I
you're
chuck it
hurling
in
this
such a
vial
way
of
that it
alchemical
hits
fire,
basically the
25 feet.
furthest
You hurl
orc
it,
from me.
nearly taking all of your strength as it slams in the chest of the orc furthest from you as it breaks and splashes against his 2 friends beside him. So all 3 orcs need to make a dex saving throw? Nope. So roll your damage. Alrighty. They are not happy at taking
All right,
4
1d6
points of
fire.
damage. The
4
2 to the
damage.
back suddenly, as the flash slams into the ground, catch and begin to light. They start to quickly pat themselves out, but focus their attention on you. Yeah, if you're within range to do that, then they're definitely
Yay.
within range to do this. The one that was right next to the one you attacked pulls a javelin from his back and hurls it towards you. He hurls it towards you, and you start to shift, and it skims off of your armor and deflects to the side, barely missing you. So that brings us to the elven woman who starts to turn around but is uncertain and takes a moment as she kind of hunkers down. Elean, you can just kind of see her, but she seems to kind of duck into some bushes and try to stay out of sight for a moment as she's staring intently at what's going on. Nissa.
Okay.
I'm going to move up as far as I can, and then at the orc
Is that a
attacked
wisdom
Elean,
save?
I will try and cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter. It is a wisdom save.
They're so wise.
I know. So as I'm moving up, I'm rummaging in my pack, and I will pull out, this always makes me chuckle, I will pull out some tarts and hold them in one hand, a feather in the other, and I'm kind of moving the feather
So
around
you
in
cast
the air,
a spell,
which probably looks
and as
rather
the
funny.
orc
And
that
use
just
that to cast
slashed
a spell
across your
again.
spider body, Elean looks at you and goes, and suddenly falls prone, laughing.
Yes.
So you have currently 2 prone orcs right next to you. Nissa, any bonus action or anything?
Awesome.
All right. That brings us to the other orc, Luven, lit on
Not
fire.
right now. I think I'm good.
And he is also going to throw a javelin at Luven. And he's going to miss as it just passes harmlessly
You
overhead.
don't say.
What? No.
No. Yes.
All right, so the bigger orc with
His
the
eyes
long
follow it
sword
in his
is
mouth
going
as he
to
like-
shift, long sword in hand, and take a swing. That's going to just hit as it slices into your side. You take 12 points of damage.
No. I want to be a spider.
No.
Alright, so I revert back to my
All right, so he takes the first
form,
slash at
my
you,
normal form.
and then goes
So
to
I
swing
take
again.
6 points of damage
And
to
the
my
second one
regular
hits
self.
as it just passes right above your shield and slashes across your arm, dealing you 15 points of damage. As he just carves across your arm and chest, like getting slightly through your armor and just cutting across you. Yeah. As he does, he kind of just like chuckles, and then you hear him go, "Garugadra," as suddenly the other orcs feel invigorated. Each grabs a javelin, the 2 that are not currently prone, and both hurl them at Luven. One hits, the other misses. So
Keep
as
trying this.
he
All
just
right.
cries out, the 2 that are prone just can't seem to grab at their weapons. One's
Okay.
incapacitated. You do take 9 points of damage as the javelin slams into your shoulder, Luven, throwing you slightly off balance. Orik, it is your turn.
Wow, good hit. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I am going to move 25 feet up. So actually, I end up being right next to Nissa. What does the big guy
The weapons
look
actually
like?
look pretty
Like,
nice
as far
overall.
as his
The
armor
sword
and
seems
weapons
finely
and the quality
crafted.
and
It's got a
thereof.
lot of dings and dents in it from where you're at, so you can tell, like, okay, he doesn't take care of it. Same thing with the chainmail he's wearing and the shield on his arm. They're all metal, but they all look damaged, as if potentially these were scavenged off somebody else.
Gotcha.
Elean
And
looks
can I
rough.
tell
You
in
actually,
how
blood's
bad a
dripping from her
shape
wounds.
is
She's
Elean?
still standing over
look pretty
the one
bloody.
orc that's on the ground, but she looks rough.
Okay, so she does look quite rough.
Oh, I look bad.
All right. So as I am approaching, I'm going to be yelling out to the orcs, is like, "You call that armor? Clearly you just scavenged it. You got no respect for metal and metalwork. You can't even manage to take care of what you got."
All right.
And then after that, I will cast Healing Word at Elean. 1d4 plus
Orik,
my
is your action attempting
modifier.
to goad them,
You
or
get
are you
4
doing
hit
something
points
else?
back.
I'll take
Okay.
it.
Roll charisma or intimidate, your choice.
Yep. Charisma is not my strong suit here,
Okay.
guys.
You will find out what
Smithing
happens with that
things.
in a moment. Because
That's
it is
something.
the orc at Elaine's
10.
feet's turn. And as he kind of staring up now that you're not a giant spider on top of him, He looks ready to attack you when he kind of looks at the bigger orc who just stares at Orik, and you hear him mutter, "Rock dwarf." So he is going to stand and shift towards Orik. They are not wise. And he takes out a great axe and goes to swing at you. He goes to swing. As he's going, it barely get your shield up as it bounces off of your shield. And you feel the magical essence of Yadumin protect you. Because I rolled an 18. Alright, but that is his turn. Elean.
Oh, nice.
Excellent.
Alright, bonus action. Barbarian Rage, because I am not feeling this nonsense. Like, just, Nissa's probably seen this before. Like, all of a sudden, I just get into, like, the zone, and I have, like, laser focused, and I'm staring at the orc with all the armor and that guy. So I just turn, and Primal Savagery, I basically Hulk out, and as I do, like, I'm gonna, like, extend one arm down as, like, just gnarly claws dripping with, like, poison.
Make a melee spell attack. Yep.
Grow out of my one hand, and I'm just gonna take, like, a nice attack.
A 20 hits. He's got a good AC, but...
Does a 20 hit his AC?
Okay. Your fingers suddenly turn into sharpened claws, acid dripping from them as you go to swing. He brings his shield up, but you shift and duck under and slam your fingers into his side. As the acid burns in, you pull back and your fingers quickly return to normal. No, he did not. So you have movement if you want, but...
Yeah, he didn't like that.
Gotcha. That brings us to the orc that's just still chuckling on the ground.
Guy, so I don't think I'd have the...
Okay. And if it takes damage, it has a saving throw with advantage.
At the end of each of its turns, it can make another wisdom saving throw.
You just keep hearing...
Yep.
But he is still just rolling on the ground laughing. You see his great axe right beside him. Luven, you are up. So the big guy is the only one that you don't have a clear view of because you have Nissa, Orik, Elean, and part of a tree in front. So he would have partial cover. The rest of them have all clear shots.
Got it. All right. I'm going to lob this time, again, toward the orcs in the back, but this time I have a green vial in hand with a slight sizzling sound to it. And I'm going to lob it.
That's just him, right, for this one?
The closest of all the orcs to the fleeing person.
That is a 9.
Correct. That is. All right, so I'll roll my full damage, and this time it is 2d6 acid.
Trees on either side, yeah.
Total of 6. And these are trees right behind me, yeah? Yeah, okay, I'm just gonna go about 10 feet to my right and try and just
you quickly
hunker down
hurl
behind
the vial.
Your
arms sore from the javelin
in the near
as
future.
it slams directly into this orc's chest. Almost like he wasn't even trying to dodge it, but it burns and you see him recoil from the pain as you shift over a little bit and try and get some cover behind the tree as Anvil's just going... He's like...
I do wave to Anvil despite my pained look, like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
He doesn't wave back.
So the orc you just hit with acid is going to come rushing up to you,
attention
Luven.
to me.
So he's rushing by like bloodlust in his eyes as he passes right by you, Nissa, seeming to pay no attention. 11, you go to swing and he just barely, his foot passes over your blade. But he gets to Luven and swings, and that's definitely going to hit. And you take 11 points of damage as he just hacks across your form, denting your armor slightly as your back kind of slams into the tree from the force of the blow. All right, that brings us to Nissa. So you have 3 targets around Elean, one that's all by himself and one that's over by Luven. There's still the one that's rolling on the ground laughing.
Excellent. She'd really want to go help Elean, but she knows Orik looks like he's kind of in that general direction. She knows one's just run off to Luven, so she'll probably go and try and give Luven a hand. So,
Thank you.
Alright, so you rush up, flank this orc, so you have advantage.
welcome. So, short sword attack.
Oh.
That's a no, that's a 9. With advantage, I rolled a 4 and a 5.
Yeah, you go, have your blade in hand and go to
That
swing,
hurts.
Yeah.
but the orc kind of keeps
Banish
shifting
that
and
dice.
moving
Yep.
as he's staring off at Luven, and the blade just misses as you're rushing up. Quick question, what weapons do you have? So if you want, you can draw a dagger and
Yep.
bonus action attack.
Short sword and
I was about to say,
daggers.
you can two-hand. It will only be the dice. You can't add your dex for
Yes,
the damage.
please.
For the attack roll, it's still the attack roll if you want to do that. You still get flanking, and you can still get sneak attack.
Okay,
You just
I'll
can't
try that.
add your dex modifier to the damage. There we go.
Nice.
So, frustrated, you draw your
18?
dagger and just stab into the back of his leg. Roll your damage and
Rogue is
sneak attack.
Rogan.
And with that, you hack deep into his thigh.
Yay,
as he
sneak
just
attack.
9
stares at
total
Luven
damage.
and suddenly just drops to the ground and passes out.
Yes. yes.
So, kind of hiding.
Luven looks a little
off in
shaken,
the
but from around the
bushes,
tree you do see,
Elaine,
like, a
you're still
shaky
currently
thumbs
the only
up.
one that can see her. The elven woman there you see her kind of unsling a bow and fire a shot at the orc that's all by himself. Actually, that misses. So she fires a second shot. That'll hit. She was testing it. Don't worry. The first arrow passes right by his shoulder as he kind of starts to turn confused.
restringing it.
And the second one slams dead center in his chest. And you see him stumble back shocked from the force of the attack. That does bring us to him. Yeah. Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yeah, make two
question
Constitution
to the DM.
saving
I just
throws.
realized
Just
I
beat a
should have
10
been rolling
twice.
for my concentration on that Shield of Faith
That's
both times
one.
I've been hit.
All right, so you're able to maintain concentration
I just
with some
reached a
difficulty.
10 with my first one.
The
12.
orc that was hit stares towards the elven woman, but then decides to rush towards
Sorry,
Orik.
please continue.
And he draws out his great axe and he goes to swing, but trips on a branch and kind of the axe just hits the ground next to you. That does bring us to you, Orik.
Alright, so I will turn towards the orc that's wearing the chainmail, and I'll yell out to him, "If you can't maintain your armor, then you
okay.
shouldn't
I
be
believe
wearing
that just
it."
goes
And
through
with
and
that,
makes
I
a
will
save
cast
to hold
heat
on to
metal
things.
on him.
Oh.
Yeah, you take 2d8 fire
Actually,
damage when you cast the spell.
I think
And
just
until the spell ends, you can use a
initially
bonus action on each of your
2d8s.
turns to cause this damage again. Are you casting it on their armor? You're a jerk. He can't drop
Yes, I'm
that.
casting it on his chainmail. Yes, I am. Yep.
4 points of fire damage as
trying to
Elaine
So,
beside you. It was
that
a
is
pretty nice
4
day,
damage.
kind of a little bit warm out, but it's suddenly getting a lot warmer just off to the guy in front of you as his armor starts to slightly glow red. And you see him just patting his chest and as if he doesn't understand what's going on. Bonus action or movement, Orik. All right, that brings us to him. He can't drop it, so there's nothing
No,
he can do
I think
there.
I'm good where I'm at.
He is not happy though, so he doesn't currently see Elean as a big threat. So he's actually going for the dwarf that challenged him, but at disadvantage. Swing and miss. Swing and miss. But his other ability does recharge.
Bring
So
it.
he swings twice, and you can tell the armor burning's kind of jerking his arm back as he goes to swing. But then he just cries out as the two orcs right beside you, Orik, both take a swing at you with their great axes. But both miss. As just swing, and the first one you deflect with your shield, the other one ducks slightly as it passes harmlessly overhead. But it is one of the orcs in front of you's turn, and frustrated, he is going to try and be smart and pull away from Elean. Yep. Yeah.
Attack of
Slash.
opportunity. I guess that's just with my scimitar. I'd turn around.
You were
try to-
so focused
Try to hook
on
him.
the big orc that you realized just a little too late his friend was
Doesn't
pulling
like
away,
it.
and you swing just a second too late. But he is going to try again to swing at you with his great axe with advantage. And miss. That does bring us to Elean. You are still raging.
Excellent.
All right. I'm still raging. As I take a side step to the side to get up behind this guy, I'm going to transform into an axe beak. So this giant ostrich-like, bird-like creature just, like, morphs onto the field.
Yep, that's what we're using.
Because I have no idea what they sound like.
Shift
So
and
that's what it
morph
sounds
into
like
this large bird-like creature, tiny wings, and are now threatening him. He feels threatened. Also hot. He's very warm.
Yep.
End of his turn for the orc that is still rolling on the ground. Oh.
Good. He should.
Yeah, no, finally just...
Uh-oh.
But he is still prone, because that's at the end of his turn. But yeah, Nissa, you notice that
It's not
he's not
funny
laughing
anymore, guys.
Luven, you're up.
Yep.
All right. Luven is producing
Yep.
a new vial. This
Almost
one's
like you need
actually
some help.
blue, a bit of foam at the top. That's my healing draught.
So that would be action and bonus action.
I don't know, 2d8 maybe?
So,
But
Luven,
let's
you
do that.
produce this healing draught, chug it down, and
That's 9
feel that
HP back.
nasty carve into your chest start to close up a bit. Any movement? All right, Nissa, you're up.
Nope.
Okay, I'm going to move up to the orc near Orik, and I will go behind. And I'm going
Alright,
to
it is not metals.
reach out and
Actually, but you
touch
still have
him
advantage
and
because it's
try
a
and do
melee spell
shocking
attack.
grasp on him.
Oof. Yeah, that'll hit the hide
Does a
armored
24
orc. Yep, so you rush up
Good.
to this relatively undamaged
Good,
orc
good.
and reach out,
8 damage.
touch the back of his armored calf, and just send a bolt of electricity into him as he cannot take reactions. Any additional movement? I think you have 10 feet of movement left.
Yes.
Okay, that
I'm
brings
gonna
us
just move
to
around, even if
one
it's
with
just,
the bow.
just one space. Just
She's going to take
move around
2
slightly.
shots currently at the prone figure. That will hit. And both will hit. Yeah. Her lowest attack was a 15. In 2
Split.
That
quick
was a
shots,
disadvantage
the one that
'cause
was
it's-
laughing gets 2 arrows straight into his chest as he
Wow.
starts to lean up and just...
Pew, pew.
and just head just falls right back down. And you see her like starting to get ready for another shot. That brings us to the orc that is
Nice.
pretty badly hurt right now and squaring off against Orik. And he's just gonna swing. He tried. Orik, you're up.
He tried.
Gold star.
All right. So I am going to turn to the
Yes.
two, like, kind of minion-y orcs that they're trying to attack me ineffectually. And I'm going to stare at them
Oh.
and call out, "Drop!" and cast command at a 2nd level
Ooh.
to cause them to try and drop their weapons.
Ooh.
Are you saying it
So
in
they need
common?
to make a wisdom
Okay. They
saving
seem to
throw.
understand.
They do
but
understand
they're
my
only speaking
language,
Orcish.
right? Yes.
Yep.
Right.
The one that tried to
Because my
take a swing at
taunting
you
had
just
an
now
effect
drops his
earlier.
weapon.
I
The
expected
other
that
one
they actually
is still
understood
slightly
me.
jerky from being electrocuted, but does not drop his weapon.
Okay. So what I'm going to do next is
He's
move
gonna still take
kinda
a swing at you.
diagonally
Never mind.
so that I am no longer being
That was
flanked.
2.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So I am no longer being flanked. I will use my bonus action to make it hot in her again.
Ow! And that armor is now red
13
hot,
fire
and he's
damage.
just like kind of scratching at it as
Nice.
it's shifting very uncomfortably. Yeah. All right. Now it's his turn, and he's gonna take one swing at Orik, and he hits. Finally,
As he should be. Ah!
No.
you take
No!
14 points of slashing damage. And I need you to
My
make
perfect
a
streak is
concentration check.
broken. Ow.
You need your 20.
I got a natural 20. Shrug it off.
No. I hate heat metal as a DM.
Not bitter much?
Little salty there.
He's enraged. He's going to take another swing at you anyway.
Oh my god, that was great.
Nah, that one's going to miss. That brings us to the orc that got electrocuted. Great axe in hand, he takes a swing at Nissa and hits. Nissa, you take 11 points of slashing damage. As you shift it away, he just turns and just swings and slices across your shoulder. Elean.
So you guys are going to notice that the axe beak looks very distressed at her little buddy being attacked.
Yes.
So she's going to kind of
Yes.
shuffle past and around Orik. I could probably just step over Orik because I'm a large creature and he's a dwarf.
Yeah.
But basically going to run over to Nissa's aid because I would see that she is starting to take some damages and my bird self does not approve.
And raging.
And I'm going to run over and then with my scary axe beakness.
Stabby, chompy, chompy.
We got some, was it stompy, chompy,
You know, their
chompy,
hide armor
stabby,
does
chompy,
provide a
chomp,
lot,
something like
but...
that. Does a 19 hit?
Yes, because it is strength-based, isn't it?
And actually, hold on, would I get a +2 to this damage? Ah,
Nice.
it is. Sweet. So I get +4 to this. So for 10 points of damage,
So
I
you
just
drop your beak
my
into the base of
into,
his
like,
neck
the base
and
of his
tear
neck,
into
trying
him.
to, tear into him. Yes!
All right.
And
That brings
then
us
I have a
to
little bit more movement,
Luven.
so I'll take, push up closer towards Nissa.
Okay.
Gotcha. Dex
well,
save.
I
That's a one.
hurl an alchemical acid at the one that Elean is facing, not the leader one.
Yes, that is 10 points of sweet, sweet acid burn.
That's
and
10 points
there's
of
not
sweet,
much left
sweet
except
acid
some
burn.
bubbling. So you hurl the acid, it slams into him directly into the side of his head, and you just hear a slight scream for a minute of pain before he drops and just twitches and stops moving.
Excellent. Then I'm just gonna quickly come out of the trees for a second. So that's 5 feet. 10, 15, 20,
Nissa,
25,
you are
30. I'm way over here. I hope I didn't provoke anyone else. Okay, I'm over here.
I'm going to kind of try and pull myself together, shakily look at Elean.
Okay, so you're
and,
moving
give
into
her,
position
like,
behind
a
the
little bit
leader
of a weak
orc
thumbs up,
and
then
flanking him
move
with
across to.
As you should. You go to stab
I'm going to try and
just
stab him with my
barely
short
pass
sword,
under his
please.
shield and slide into his side.
19 to hit?
That is a good sneak attack.
Second guessing my math, but 17 damage?
Yeah, clearly.
Yep.
Very
So
sneaky.
you go and
Much
you
attack.
stab the
angry.
blade into his side as he kind of recoils. As your sword starts to feel warm, you quickly pull it away. You do have a bonus action if you wanted to try and stab him with your dagger. It would just be the dagger damage, though, if you want to try that. Yes, so just a d4. Nice.
Yeah,
All right,
I will
so
go
you
for
go
it. 23
and
to hit.
right where you stabbed. He goes to swing his shield to try and block, but you take a step and then quickly jam the dagger into his arm and just pull it out as he just recoils in pain. All of you are noticing he's looking pretty bad right now. As he's just staring now, rather than confidently, wild-eyed at all of you.
Good.
Yep, it's
Good.
going to be Elven Woman's turn, and she's actually going to start moving out into the open and take 2 quick shots at him. Both miss, however. She rolled really badly. First arrow passes right over his shoulder. The second bounces off his armor. Orik,
Oh.
you are up.
Excellent. So, I am going to
Do so,
swing
great
with my
Orik.
mighty hammer up upon his noggin. A shot.
I think
that
so.
nugget.
Yeah.
23 to hit. Good. Well, that's a relief.
That's good.
7 damage. And then I will use my bonus action
12?
to make him very
Okay.
uncomfortably
So you
warm.
slam the top of his head
12
with your
fire
hammer
damage.
as he kind of starts to stumble
12.
back and just he's heaving and the burn and he's starting to like shift and he catches himself on his shield, planting it into the ground slightly to keep himself standing, but he's still standing. And it's his turn as he looks around, nearly surrounded.
For now.
He's going to take 2 swings at Nissa. Ooh. They're both going to hit.
I knew it.
Can I extra rage?
Oh no.
You take 14 points of damage on the first one,
Bye, guys.
and then 2 failed
I
death
can
saves.
spare the dying, so you're okay.
I'm down.
And he's going to start to run.
Oh no.
Oh.
Yep, both of you get attacks of opportunity.
Oh, no. No, he's not. No, he's not.
Both
No.
miss.
Yeah, no, he's not.
So he's starting to take off.
Well, for me.
15 to hit.
Oh.
Oh, no!
That's funny. That's cute.
He thinks he is.
So, I stabby, chompy at him and miss. I'm going to squawk at Orik as I, leap over Nissa and do, a kind of a motion to her. And I'm going to charge up to him because I have a 50-foot movement as an axe beak. And I'm going to
21
chompy
hits.
death
How
him.
would you like to do
He's
it?
going down. Does a 21 hit?
Yes. Yes.
I would like to do it with 7 points of damage as I, hook my beak around the front of his neck in,
You do.
one swift motion, slash his throat, and, twist his head around, because I have a big beak, I'm assuming.
Okay, you just
So it'd be a
sink
one
your
motion
beak
to just
into
kinda
him
try to do
and
everything,
just
like,
pull
"Rah!"
and tear
ravaging
him
him.
apart. Okay.
And then, right after that, I'm gonna drop back to my normal form and go back over to
No,
Nissa.
she will
Well,
have to
so
roll
when
first.
we're out of
Luven,
combat,
can you do
would
anything?
I be able to run up and spare the dying?
So I'm thinking about the healing draught. Is it
You will have
possible
to
that
make an
maybe
attack
with
roll.
lesser effectivity, I could administer it from range?
Okay, make a roll.
That's
Okay.
fine. All right. So first of all, I'm going to move as close
Okay.
as possible.
Roll a d4 for
I'm
me.
10 feet away, and I'm going
If
to make
your
a roll.
d4 is less than what I just
15
rolled,
on the die.
she is at 1 HP.
Okay.
Good, because I rolled a 2. So you hurl
I
it,
rolled a
glass
1.
shatters against the ground beside her, liquid sprays across her body and across her face, and liquid enters into her mouth, and she's able to swallow some of the healing draught, closing the wounds before any of the shards can deal damage. So that d4 that you rolled was to see how much damage you were going to deal versus how much healing she was going to receive, and the healing would have to beat that damage in that instant. Yes. But Nissa.
Oh, so that could have killed her.
Luven!
I didn't know that.
Why are we throwing glass at people?
Oh,
We're
no, you can't
unconscious.
reach that with a splash.
I thought I was splashing it, like I have it in hand. And I
5
just
feet
go
yes,
whoosh, like a
but not 10. Yes.
Yeah. 5 feet maybe, but not,
So
not
Nissa, as the
Okay,
healing
well, it
draught
worked, so
courses
whatever, I'll
through
never
your
do that
body,
again.
you slowly, painfully come to consciousness. And that is where we're going to leave this episode for today.
Thank you all for listening. Please share this with your friends and follow us on Twitter at rulesaswritten, or check out our website, dndraw.com, and feel free to email any questions to the DM at dm@dndraw.com. Also, please subscribe and leave us a review or comment anywhere podcasts are found. Please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/dndraw. See you all soon.
Hey everyone. Today we're highlighting our very own Rachael Swertfeger, also known as Jade Vala, who has numerous creative projects that you can support. Rachael is a great friend and a quality person who dedicates much of her time to supporting others in the community. In addition to playing Elean here in Rumble Squad, she also DMs her own podcast, Epic Endings, where level 20 D&D 5th edition adventurers advance through increasingly difficult challenges. In addition to podcasting, she does streaming and art. If you're interested in supporting Rachael, she is now on Patreon. Her patrons enjoy benefits like shoutouts on social media and monthly prints of her art. You can find her on Patreon as Jade Vala and on Twitter at Epic Endings Pod. So make sure to check out our own Rachael as Jade Vala on Patreon. As a little teaser for what else Rachael does, here's a promo for her podcast, Epic Endings.
Epic Endings Podcast, where heroes come to perish. Hey, I'm Rachael, the DM of Epic Endings Podcast. It is a 5th edition actual play podcast with a bit of a twist. While most parties are comprised of 3 or more players at an appropriate level going on adventures, this series of adventures is taken on by solo players at 20th level. I have 4 individual players, each playing 1 character and each playing alone. Each player is presented the same adventures, beginning with a level 1 adventure to see how they approach the problems and navigate different situations without the aid of a full party. Who will go the furthest? Will it be the dashing Cassius Day, the divine bard? What about our cautious and careful Thea Nightbreeze, Circle of the Moon druid? Perhaps the rickety but feisty old Sai Amakir, a blade song wizard? Or will it be our timid and endearing Keldwyn Kinsbaron, the life domain cleric? Find out on Epic Endings Podcast, where heroes come to perish. You can find us on all of your favorite podcasting services, Facebook and Twitter at Epic Endings Pod. Also, check out the blog over at thefemalepally.wordpress.com for show notes, anecdotes, and other write-ups on gaming.